area and depict it in a map format for your review. I will go over the highlights of the 8 different sections of the ordinance, and I will close the public hearing with the requested action. Mr. Mayor, you remember last month where the board discussed the Charter Review Committee recommendations and agreed to move forward with drafting the ordinance to submit to referendum the proposed charter amendment that establishes the rural boundary and the rural area. And there were very specific directions that you gave staff during that work session. And the first one was that you recognized the CRC, the Charter Review Committee's definition of the rural area with one modification, and that particular modification had to do with the exclusion of the expansion of the urban service area related to Boggy Creek and the Boggy Creek corridor. So that was the 6th exemption that was added to the definition of the rural boundary. Then we moved on to receiving a direction from the board directing staff to wait until after the November 5th vote to transmit any related rural area comp plan amendment, whether it's text or map, related to the comprehensive plan, as well as the land development code related to this particular action. So that would happen after the November 5th vote. And the board also directed us last month to advertise the draft ordinance for the public hearing, which is taking place today. The rural area consists of all unincorporated Orange County lands that are located outside the following areas. And I'm going to build up the map that would allow you to take a look at the actual boundary of the rural area. This is highlighted in red is the existing urban service area, and lands outside that particular line is what it's described to be part of this definition of the rural area. Also lands that are outside the joint planning agreements or interlocal agreements are also part of this definition. Lands that are outside the growth centers, and they're highlighted at this time, 3 of them on the screen. And lands outside the Innovation Way overlay, highlighted in yellow. Lands that are outside Horizon West Villages, recently highlighted, and the Boggy Creek expansion area at the center bottom of the screen is exemption number 6, which defines the area as such with and highlighted in green with this particular map. This area, the rural area, represents approximately 53%, 54% of the overall county area. So that gives you a general definition of what that rural area is, just over 345,500 acres of land. In terms of the ordinance itself for the charter amendment, Article 7 in the charter in section 701 authorizes the board to propose amendments to the charter subject to a referendum in any primary, general, or special election. The referendum is also called for the November 5th to determine whether or not the rural area, rural boundary charter amendment is approved by the voters. The notice of the referendum will be published as required by Florida statutes and as directed by you, the Board of County Commissioners, to staff. Mailers were sent to property owners within the boundary area for the purpose of today's meeting, and to give notification of this referendum as well. On the screen at this particular time, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, is the actual ordinance title, which provides a descriptive summary of the purpose of the ordinance. Section 1 is the charter amendment. And in Article 5, of the charter creates this new section 506, which pretty much describes textually the definition of the rural area and rural boundary as previously depicted in the map that I just presented to you. Subsection B under the same section 1, subsection B1 is the legal effect of the rural area, which basically identifies the fact that any ordinance amending Orange County comprehensive plans that increases the allowable densities or intensities within the rural area for any portion within the boundary that you just saw highlighted in green would require a majority plus 1 vote in the affirmative of the entire BCC membership as it is structured today. Just as an example of today's membership of the board, it would require 5 votes out of the 7 members, not the majority of the members that would be present during any particular public hearing. Subsection B2 identifies that any removal of properties or lands within the rural area by ordinance would be approved by an effective vote of the same majority plus 1 vote of the entire membership of the board. Subsection C identifies the charter amendment and when it would be effective, and it would be upon the date of canvassing board certification of the approval of the votes of the electors of Orange County. Subsection 2 calls for the referendum, and it is identified to be in the general elections of November 5th of 2024. Subsection 3 of the ordinance itself identifies that the notices sent for the referendum purposes would be pursuant to Florida statutes, and that it would require the publication that shall occur. The first would be the 5th week, and the second would be the 3rd week prior to the November 5th election date. Subsection 4 identifies the ballot itself, as the voters will be able to read it. It basically summarizes the description of the proposed charter amendment, and that is what's inside the box right there. Subsection 5 confirms that the same ballot and the language within that box that we just saw would be translated in Spanish. Section number 6 authorizes the Board of County Commissioners authorize the comptroller to direct and disperse the funds necessary to pay for the expenses related to the referendum itself. Subsection 7 is severability, which ensures that the entire ordinance does not become void due to the invalidity of a single part of the ordinance. And finally, subsection 8 identifies the effective date of the ordinance, which is pursuant to general law and only if and when approved by the majority of the voters voting on the referendum of November 5th. So that is the entirety of what is in the ordinance itself. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, and I will close this public hearing with the requested action, which is approval of the ordinance submitting to referendum a proposed amendment to the Charter of Orange County, Florida, providing for the establishment of the rural boundary and rural area. With that, I'm going to stand by for any questions you may have.
All right, stand by. Do we have members of the public present who wish to be heard on this item? Because this is an administrative item, this was brought forward by the Board of County Commissioners, so there's no applicant per se. But do we have, how many is that?
84 speaker cards,
okay.
Mayor.
So we're going to get 1 minute to each person, but I suspect that just by virtue of the fact that I see the sea of red that's out there, many of you are going to come to the same conclusion. So because of that, you certainly have the opportunity to cede time to someone else who may be speaking, who like-minded to you. Otherwise, you can have your minute of time as well. We do have some other business, so we have to move through this as efficiently as we possibly can this afternoon. But with the 84, we'll start that process, and you can call them in the order in which you have them.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. One or two other items. I do have a number of speakers that are already dedicating time. So when I call your name out, if you could raise your hand and identify yourself so that we can count you towards dedicating time to whoever you wanted to do that. So we will start with Senator-elect Carlos Guillermo Smith, to be followed by Stephen Holzman and Steve Leary.
Okay, are all those who were called present at this time? All right, congratulations to Senator-elect Carlos Guillermo Smith. Welcome, sir. And you up first.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. As the incoming state senator-elect for Senate District 17, that includes most of Orange County east of I-4 and all of Orange County east of the urban service area, I'm here today to encourage you to please support the rural boundary and annexation charter amendments. We know that voters deserve a say on this issue. They deserve the right to weigh in on future growth. They deserve the right to change the county charter, and they deserve a vote on this underlying issue. Look, we're here today. You already know why we're here. We're here, unfortunately, because Tallahassee blocked the ability of the CRC to actually be able to propose this charter amendment and do so directly without a vote from the BCC. We know that the reason that happened, it was mega developers who went up to Tallahassee, lobbied lawmakers, and actually asked a state senator that does not represent this area to introduce language on an unrelated bill to carve out and block the citizens from being able to do this. I know our time is limited. Respectfully, Mr. Mayor, if I could have just a few more moments
All right. Well, you can complete it.
to talk about the needs of our constituents here. Look, I unequivocally support the underlying issue, the issue of protecting our rural boundary, the issue of making sure that we actually include some of the annexation language as well, which we know can, unfortunately, if not passed, be a way to get around the rural boundary. The reason I support the underlying charter amendments is because we know that a vote for the rural boundary is a vote for smart growth. It's a vote for fiscal responsibility, for our environment, for quality of life. It's a vote for more livable, walkable communities in Orange County, which of course is a shared goal for all of our constituents, whether they be Republicans, whether they be Democratic voters, whether they be no party. This is something that they support, and they deserve a right to be able to weigh in on the issue. I know you've heard from a lot of other elected leaders as well who may not agree, but I think ultimately what's important to remember is that these folks are not anti-development. They are pro-development of high-density, affordable, attainable housing in the urban core. They're about building up, not building out. Urban sprawl and overdevelopment outside the urban core is cheap for developers.
Senator, I'm going to ask you to try to wrap it up. Giving you great deference because of your position.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I ask you to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, to wrap it up, they deserve a vote, and we know that ultimately the most important home rule is the home rule of our residents to have a say on their communities, their neighborhoods, and their homes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And for the balance of this public hearing, we do not allow the clapping, making of noise, or other things, and so I ask you to refrain from doing that. Thank you very much. We'll move to the next speaker, and so follow the rules. You're going to have 1 minute because of the position of the senator-elect. I gave him time to complete his thoughts. But the rest of you, you're going to have 1 minute. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. I'm Stephen Holzman, 3515 Exeter Court in District 3. I grew up on Cimarron Boulevard in an apartment complex playing Sim City. I am here to talk about the rural boundary. They set you up with a city. It is a nice, clean box. You cannot expand that box. You've got to build your city in the limits of the game, and it's pretty fun. You start out with small, low zoning, and then, sorry, SimCity 2000. It's a really awesome city simulator game. I grew up on, can't recommend it enough. Maybe we would have better cities if everybody grew up playing that game. I don't know. But anyways, instead of just constantly expanding the map, you've got to upzone, and your city gets cooler. The buildings get taller instead of your city getting wider. Trains start to make sense. That was my favorite part. In fact, when I was probably 5 or 6, my strategy was to just max out on loans and go mono trains. No economy, only trains. Explains a lot. So I'm in support. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We're going to move to the next speaker, please.
Hi, Steve Leary, 753 West Comstock Avenue, Winter Park, Florida. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you again for the opportunity to be here today, and thank you for your service to the community. I will be brief. I know we have 82 people behind me, or 81 if I did my math properly. I have friends on both sides of this issue, but I've been very clear. I support the rural boundary, and I think we need to get this on the initiative on the ballot and let the voters have their say. Again, I will be very brief and end this right now. Thank you very much again for your time.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next 5, Diana Schmook, Robert Stein, Dana Hutchinson, Gerald Loyola, and Emer Roy.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity for me to speak today to the council and to the folks that came today. I don't think that we could really talk about the annexation until we talk about putting the amendment on the ballot for the rural boundary. I'm for it, and that's about all I have to say. Keep rural. My name is Diana Schmuck. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Robert Stein.
Hi, Aaron.
Good afternoon.
My name is Robert Stein, 4707 Mesa Verde Drive, St. Cloud, Florida, 34769. Very briefly, this action is titled wrong. This has nothing to do about rural boundaries. This is about the right to vote. And how much are we going to allow mega developers and other corporations to decide whether or not we get to have our vote? I ask you to let the people vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Dana Hutchinson, 19246 Lansdowne, Orlando, 32833. I'm here to ask you to vote in favor of both of the rural boundary charter amendments. My family moved to Florida 6 years ago, and we live in Wedgefield in East Orange County. I've attended many of the Vision 2050 town halls. Restricting urban sprawl is an important goal of this new comprehensive plan. However, developers, lobbyists, and even some elected officials are still pushing for irresponsible growth into our rural areas. We're not fooled by promises of parks and education centers. These things do not mitigate the damage done by this unchecked urban sprawl, nor are they worth higher taxes and insurance rates. Protected rural areas, smart growth, and reliable public transportation are what we need. Orange County citizens have the right to choose what is best for our county. Please put the rural boundary amendments on the ballot and let the people decide. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Gerald Loyola, 4813 Coachman's Drive, 32812, District 3. I'm here to ask the commissioners to also vote yes on putting the rural boundary to the ballot. I would like to point out to the commissioners, given that they were supporting bolstering transit with the transit sales tax a few months ago, that establishing a rural boundary can also help with transit specifically. Large cities that have robust transit have density, and that's something that we can build with the creation of a rural boundary. It propagates local businesses to build and then developers to build within the area, and not have corporations building outside of this box per se, and allowing us to continue to build where it's needed the most. It's no longer going to be a conscious choice for people to take transit if we build up the urban core. It's going to be the most convenient one. So again, I urge you guys to put this on the ballot and let people choose what they want to do with the rural boundary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next speaker, please.
Hello, Ema Roy, 3283, 2337 Albion Avenue, zip code 32833. I'm here to talk in favor of both being able to vote on putting it on the ballot and also restricting the annexation. When we moved here in 2016 from the West Coast, the first week we were in Avalon Park, somebody was skiing on the side of the road on the water. There was waves. You know, Hurricane Ian, we had water right up to our back door. I had a kid worried about, do we need to go to the roof? The front of the house had boats. The back of the house had boats. The next 4 months, driving down the 520, every time I stopped at my favorite picnic stop, the water was on top of the picnic table. So anybody who tells us that, you know, it doesn't affect Wedgefield, whatever, I caught my bullshit-ometer is broken, honestly. Thank you today for standing up for citizens as opposed to corporations and big banks and big money. Eat the rich.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Frank Lucasio, followed by Carl Speak, Christiana Oyanga, and then I have Robert Banks with Beverly Holloway Rivera. Are you here? All right, thank you. You're dedicating your time, as well as Paul Colton. Paul Colton. All right, so Mr. Banks, you'll have a total of 4 minutes.
Thank you very much for having me here. I appreciate the fact that you folks have to ride the fence. That's a hard act to do sometimes. And all of you folks here for showing up, and the ones who couldn't show up who are working today. My name is Frank Lucasio, P.O. Box 720081, Orlando, Florida, 32872. I am here not to oppose your proposed law. I'm here to explain why part of it should be lopped off. But before I do that, I want to explain who I am. I'm a landowner out there, a vacant landowner. I'm also a landowner in Winter Park, where I have properties. I have 25 tenants, and my tenants are formerly homeless American veterans. So I do a little bit of both. So I care about people at the same time, and I think some of our commissioners may know me, that I sometimes show up to hearings for things or talk to them about stopping progression of development. So I'm pro-development and against development, depends on where it is. Well, I tried to build, we see that large, where it says rural area to the right over there? That block over there is just east of Bithlo, just east of Bithlo.
How much time does he have, by the way?
He has 1 minute.
I requested 5.
Okay.
I did not
unless someone
I wrote
gave you
5
their
minutes
time.
on the card.
No, you can't determine how much time you're going to get, sir. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, you're out of time.
All these people here are pretty much for it. I'm just got one little question. I'm not trying to stop the project.
We understand where you are. If there's something that you want to submit, that you want to add or change,
I just wanted you to lop off part of that so we could do the more veterans that are homeless. Thank you.
You can leave that with us. Thank you very much. All right, next speaker.
Yes, my name is Carl Speaks. I've been out in East Orange County for over 50 years. And it was a nice, quiet place. But in the last 20 years, we've got so many people that's moving in out there. We don't have the roads or anything to get us out of there if we have to get out of there. It's roadblocks in the morning, roadblocks in the afternoon, and we just need the boundary until we can get stuff straightened out. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners.
Afternoon.
My name is Cristiano Uniga, and 1558 Cordon Street, 32828. I'm here today as a member of the Orange County Sustainability Advisory Board, serving in the capacity of environmental protection, natural resource management, and urban tree canopy management. On behalf of the Sustainability Advisory Board, as a unanimous decision, I have the following statement to read to the Commission. The Sustainability Advisory Board, as part of our mission and vision to ensure continuous improvement to sustain the quality of life throughout Orange County, supports the approval of the Rural Boundary Amendment for the November ballot. It aligns with a smart growth strategy that will preserve and protect natural resources, native species, and wildlife habitats, which provide value and benefits to both people and the planet, consistent with the policies of sustainable and resilient development within the county's comprehensive plan. Thank you for the opportunity to share our comments today.
Thank you very much. We'll move to the next speaker. And you can call the next, who's on deck.
Right. On deck is Nelson Betancourt, followed by Emily Stewart, James Mead, and Michelle Peters.
All right, you're recognized, sir.
My name's Robert Banks, 3817 Shawn Circle. I've been a resident of Orange County now for the second time for over 24 years. I am a native Floridian. I am the great-grandson of the first Bumby in Orange County. I'm the grandson of the second Bumby in Orange County. My great-grandfather's in Plot A and my grandfather's in Plot B at the Greenwood Cemetery. My family goes back to the 1800s, okay? I am a graduate of the University of Florida. I've been before this commission on numerous occasions, and I have shared my expertise as an animal scientist and as an agriculturalist. I'm here to support my neighbors. I'm here to support this necessity for this rural boundary vote. I've been attending these meetings now for, 10, 15 years. And I ask that you as a commission listen to the community members that are here. I've been doing this so long, I'm in an orange shirt. A lot of my neighbors are in red shirts. I bought this shirt a long time ago. And previously, in other talks, I have presented information from National Farm Bureau regarding the cost of community services. Yeah, I hope you commissioners realize that previous commissions heard me speak that cost of community services were for rural, agricultural, vacant, industrial properties. They generate more revenue for counties than do urban development. That's a fact. It's indisputable. Folks, take that, heed that advice. Know that if we continue to pave over our land, our water comes from underneath that earth. It's a Florida aquifer, folks. We can't keep paving over the land for the sake of big development. It's unnecessary. It's not fair to the people that have, like many of my neighbors, purchased their properties based on a comprehensive land use plan that was made by former commissioners of this county that stated that anything east of the Econ would be one domestic unit per 10 acres. Why is that such a difficult thing to do? That would, in essence, produce multi-million-dollar homes for people that want to live rurally and yet produce more community service funds than what they require. I ask that you consider this. I'm sure you're leaning that way. I'm hopeful that you're leaning that way. It's important that you hear those of us that are part of this community. There are many people that have been here for many, many years, and then there's newer people. I've met some new recruits, so to speak. Large land developments, folks, we can keep building and building and building, but in the end, we're going to need water, we're going to need fire, we need schools, we need police, we need all of those things that, quite frankly, we're not getting. I live in East Orange County. I have been at community meetings prior, pointed out to some of the county workers the need for folks to get out there and clean out the storm drains in East Orange County. They're full of debris, they're full of plants growing, that you wonder why we get all this flooding. A couple of years ago during Ian, I was basically on an island in East Orange County. There was water all around me. Folks, please, hear the voice of the people, support the rural boundary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Nelson Betancourt, 5350 East Scaly Street, Orlando, Florida, 32812. We must let citizens vote on the question in the November elections whether to have a rural boundary or not, regardless of any legal threats or scary tactics from excessively influenced politicians by big money private interests. Urban sprawl is obsolete. Look at the damage it has done to the Everglades and how it has slowly been suffocating our county. Case in point, Wedgefield, Split Oak Forest. Orange County is on the rack from development on the west side and ongoing threat in the rural east side of the county. And in the middle, the tourist industry sucking out tourist development tax dollars, leaving a $22 billion hole in our budget to fund our transportation, water, and infrastructure needs. The fate of Orange County is tied to the fate of the land. A saying in Spanish makes it clear: El futuro se construye en el campo. The future is built in the countryside. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Emily Stewart. I appreciate those commissioners who are not on their cell phones. I want to say that I do not support annexation. I know that that's the next topic, but in that, I also want to say that these expansive things are not being done with any thought to the environment or our aquifers. We are the headwaters of the Everglades, and we continue to pave over the land that is so very valuable to the ecosystem that we live in. If we continue to sprawl out, we will not have the services that we need. As a disabled person, I struggle to get around Orange County because there is not public transit that is useful and usable. We need to actually focus on the things that matter to our citizens, and continued development outside of the boundaries does not do that. Please put this on the ballot so that people can vote on it, and don't allow the mega intense development that we heard this morning to continue.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Gary Peters on behalf of my wife, Michelle. I think she donated her time. We're at 2801 Hortree Court, Zellwood. I'm clear on the other end of the county. We are for the rural boundary. We moved out there for the nice, quiet country life. The particular area that I'm concerned with is directly behind my home. It's about 130 acres, directly across from the fairgrounds of the Sweet Corn Festival. If anybody's aware of that, that's the world famous Zellwood sweet corn. But anyhow, we are for the rural boundary. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
Mayor and Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
My name is James Mead. I reside at 5361 Young Pine Road. I'll get this out as quickly as possible. My concern is with the current urban settlements, specifically Christmas, Florida, and the zonings there. There are different zonings like, commercial. There's some commercial zone. I own a commercial property in Christmas, and that the establishment of this rural boundary won't eliminate those particular zonings. My family also has been here for over 100 years. I'm an 8th generation Floridian, and I'd like to make sure that those current zonings that are in urban settlements are excluded from this bill or this ordinance, or at least addressed in this ordinance. They're either grandfathered or in some way addressed in the ordinance.
All right. Thank you very much for your comments, and we'll come back and address that when everyone has spoken. All right. Next speaker, please.
Is really the issue.
Next speaker is John Maniscalco, followed by Isabel Sam, Norma Linden, Dan Washburn, and Kathy Sheeran.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Commissioner Kodev, how are you? I represent the Whippoorwill Heart Community Association as president. Some 400 residents there. All 400 oppose any further annexation. The Narcoossee corridor has turned into an absolute nightmare. We now have turbidity in Lake Whippoorwill that we have not had. I've been out there 40 years, and it went from a crystal clear lake that would compete with any lake in Montana to something that is now polluted, and we don't know how to get it back because the development on the west side of that lake is pouring pollutants in. I strongly support, as all of my residents do, that we continue with rural community boundaries and no further annexation. It has been a total nightmare. And everybody in this room that lives in a rural settlement loves living in the rural settlement, or they wouldn't be here. We love our neighborhood, and that's evidenced by the fact that people die before they move out. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Isabel Sam. I live at 4818 Native Dancer Lane, Orlando, Florida, 32826. I want to tell you a story. When you go to a big county fair, sometimes they will raffle off a bull. And the person who gets the weight guess that is closest to the actual weight of the bull will win the bull, and he'll take him home. But what's most interesting about it is that when you actually take the numbers that every single person guesses is the weight of the bull, and you average it out, that weight is normally only 1 to 2 pounds off. The people are correct when they all work together. So I ask today that you go ahead and just put this up for a vote. I think the people need to just have a voice in this. It feels like diplomacy has completely broken down in this case. None of us want to be here anymore. We're all sick of each other. So let's get rid of this, okay? Let's end it, and let's trust the people. Thank you.
All right, next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Norma Linden. I live on 882 South Econ Olahatchee Trail, Orlando 32825. I'm here because of all the same. For rural boundaries. I live in this house for 32 years now on an acre, and now I received a notice last week that they want to change RCE to make 3 or 4 houses in 1 acre. So this disturbs me because I love my wildlife and my trees, and next to me they clear all the trees, live oaks and everything to build a house, which creates more heat. And my birds, I haven't seen a wild animal in a long time, and it breaks my heart. And I'm the one that's concerned about them, and I have native plants, and it's wild there, and I love it. And the traffic is horrendous on south of Lake Underhill, especially when school starts. It starts from Deerwood to Lake Underhill. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Dan Washburn. I live at 17138 Pickett's Cove Road in Orlando. I'm president of Pickett's Cove Homeowners Association, which is a small community off of Highway 419 on the east side of Orange County on pristine Lake Pickett. I'm also the chairman of the Lake Pickett Advisory Board. We've been fighting high-density development for close to a decade now. We all know that with more density comes more impact, more people, more traffic, more crime, more noise, more light pollution, and more stormwater runoff. We are particularly concerned about the impact to Lake Pickett, where the residents have been paying hundreds of thousands of dollars through an MSTU to maintain the pristine nature of the lake. As more of the drainage basin gets covered with homes and asphalt, Lake Pickett's flooding events have become more severe. During Tropical Storm Faye, Lake Pickett rose to unseen levels with more residents' yards underwater and nearly flooding some of the homes. Please give the people of Orange County a fighting chance against the deep-pocketed developers and vote to put the rural boundary amendment on the ballot.
All right, thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. I'm Kathy Sheeran, 2450 Williams Road, Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. Sustainable growth is critical in maintaining and improving the quality of life for every resident of Orange County, and this amendment is the first step in that process. The mayors of the cities in Orange County who wrote to Mayor Demings opposing this to be placed on the ballot seem to believe developers need to build what they want, where they want, when they want, to address the affordable, attainable housing situation. This is misguided. In rural areas, the development that's occurring is not attainable nor affordable. There's no public transit, no commerce, no employment centers, or appropriate roads and infrastructure. Nothing is within walking distance. Developing one-bedroom apartment units for $2,500 a month isn't affordable. This isn't attainable for well over 50% of our residents. I hope you consider the wants and needs of your constituents and vote yes to put this and the annexation amendment on the November ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speakers.
Next group of speakers start with Charlie Hollingsworth, Bobby Beagles, Paul Owens, Val Mobley, and Cheryl Code.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Hollingsworth. I am at 6962 Lake Ola Drive in Tangerine. You all received my personal email this morning, so I'll make it short. I'm here to represent Tangerine as well, and the Tangerine Improvement Society, as well as the Claricona Improvement Society. Please support the rural boundary and allow the voters a vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Bobby Beagles.
Overhead camera. Can you turn this on? Yes. Endangered species. I live in East Orange County. Bobby Beagles, 21302 Fort Christmas Road, Christmas, Florida. Have been a resident of Orange County since 1942. Almost as long as you, Jerry. I support the rural boundary for one reason. If you don't support it, I'm going to be out of the cattle business. My grandson, who already is in the cattle business, will be out of the cattle business. Yes, I own land. My mom and dad bought it because we was running out of West Orange County with growth and moved to East Orange County. If you really look at it, y'all need to make the decision. Put it on the ballot and let us make up our mind for those who's running for re-election won't be held accountable. It's very simple to say, yes, I support the rural boundary. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
And I'll leave that picture with y'all because some of you don't know what a panther is.
You gotta love him. Next speaker.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Paul Owens, President of 1000 Friends of Florida, 3029 Westchester Avenue in Orlando. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization promoting planning for environmentally and fiscally sustainable communities throughout our state. The Rural Boundary Amendment aligns well with the guiding principles behind the county's Vision 2050 plan, especially number 6, preserve open space, farmland, and critical environmental areas, and number 7, direct development toward existing communities. Preserving more natural land in Orange County will maintain the ecosystem services associated with those areas. Directing development toward existing communities will enhance the quality of life. But it'll also reduce the cost of public services, which are more efficient when provided in urban areas than when stretched to accommodate urban sprawl. Commissioners, voters deserve the opportunity to adopt a policy with this many benefits. Please vote in favor.
Thank you very much. You see, that minute goes really quickly, right? Next speaker.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Coates, 21745 Fort Christmas Road, Christmas, Florida, 32709. Thanks for having us. I am for the rural boundary. I was born and raised here. East Orange County is all we have left. We have to protect our rural community, our agriculture, our wildlife is so important to us. We have to stop what these developers want to do so we don't lose our conservation any more than what we already have. We will be mowed down if we don't get this on the ballot, and I hope we can have the vote for what we want to have out there. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next speaker.
I'm Val Mobley, 226 West King Street, Orlando, Florida, 32804. And I'm here today to represent the League of Women Voters of Orange County. That's an 800-member organization in Orange County who are nonpartisan, politically active, and we empower voters. That's our mission, and we defend democracy. We don't endorse candidates, but we take positions on issues, and this is an issue. We appreciate the work that our Charter Review Committee did on behalf of the citizens of Orange County. They represent the essence of home rule. By stripping our CRC of the authority to put the rural boundary issue on the ballot, the powers that be in Tallahassee would deny local citizens our ability to define our own future. The League of Women Voters asks you to please stand up for home rule today. Your constituents deserve the right to decide if a rural boundary is right for Orange County or not. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Next group of speakers start with Hal Coates, Kim Dinkins, John Stone, Mark Mansfield, and Rainey Hildebrand. Is Kim Hines here as well? Kim Hines? All right. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Hal Coates, 21745 Fort Christmas Road, 32709. I want to make it perfectly clear. I would like to have this agenda put on the ballot, let the people vote. I'm against annexation of the city of Orlando coming out to Christmas and annexing the land. I'm against the county commissioners, the mayor, that you would fold up and support mega builders, just some filthy rich people, and not listen to your constituents. We are standing in front of you telling you we are sick and tired of this, but you just keep letting this go on and on. The people need to vote on this. This is the most important thing that's happened in Orange County in 30 or 40 years. This is the big event. Let's establish a rural boundary. Let's let the people vote. I beg you to listen to the people. The physiological stress, the mental anguish that you guys are subjecting me to is phenomenal.
All right, thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you too. All right, next speaker.
Good afternoon, Mayor Demings, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kim Dinkins. I'm the Policy and Planning Director for 1000 Friends of Florida. As our President Paul mentioned, we advocate for building better communities and saving special places throughout Florida. The initiative before you would serve both of these goals by setting a reasonably higher standard for land use amendments that convert properties from rural to urban uses. We've promoted similar policies for more than a decade, and communities across the state have implemented them to protect their rural areas and direct growth to urban areas with the infrastructure to support it. In a recent study conducted by us and the UF Center for Landscape Conservation Planning, we found that Orange County stands to lose more than 180 square miles of undeveloped land by 2070, much of this to urban sprawl, including almost 90% of the current farmland in the county. However, by utilizing planning tools such as this, along with others that directly protect rural land, the acreage loss could be significantly reduced while still providing ample opportunity for economic and population growth. We commend the CRC and stakeholders for bringing the amendment forward and urge you to place it on the ballot.
All right, thank you. Record speed there. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is John Stone. My wife and I live at 4807 Brown Road in Christmas, Florida, in Commissioner Bonilla's district, and I'd like to thank her for outstanding service to our families on Brown Road. I'm here to say that my wife and I support the assignment of the rural area. I'd also like to add that in the people who live there, many of us have some acreage. We have 34 acres, and while we don't want to see commercial development, I also understand this would require that I have to come back before you instead of the department if we want to build an extra house on our 33 acres for a family member. So I want you to keep an open mind about there's rural development for a family and there's rural development for commercial development, and that, as I understand it, we're going to have to come to you for our development of a house for a granddaughter or a son. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Mansfield. I reside at 16362 Sand Hill Road in Winter Garden, and I'm in support of the rural boundary amendment for the charter, and would like to see it appear on the November ballot to let the voters of Orange County decide. Sustainable growth is critical in maintaining and improving the quality of life for every resident of Orange County, and this amendment is a good first step in that process. So please support putting this amendment on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Joe, you forgot the time.
Sorry, Mayor.
All right, next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Rachel Hildebrand, and is Kim Hines here? All right, is Pat Lindsay here?
She's in the other room.
Okay, and Scott Bradley? Scott? All right, so you'll have a total of 3 minutes.
We're good?
You're good, 3 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I could.
Okay.
I'll just go.
Let's go.
Hi, my name is Rachel Hildebrand, and I live at 4651 Chuliota Road, Orlando, Florida. I'm here today to speak on the behalf of the Lake Pickett Community Association and my own concerns. I want to thank many of you today here for your hard work on getting the rural boundary and annexation initiatives this far. I know it's been a lot, so why let the pressure of 10 people stop all your hard work, especially when you have a room full of people here and over 2,000 ballot signatures saying otherwise? These two initiatives should be the easiest things to say yes to, since they are sustainable, smart, use existing language, and protect the people who live here and who have to live here with the decisions of people who don't. Developers seeking to capitalize on Florida's resources and lack regulations span from Canada, Turkey, and my favorite, North Carolina, none of which are as close as the towns people drove here from today to show you that this is important. I don't know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. I risk my job and livelihood every time I come down here to fight for what's right, and that's not cool. Why are you siding with the people who aren't part of this community? Why do you make it seem like you don't have our backs or the best interests of the ecological future of the state every time we have these hearings? We've trusted your word for far too long, and we've seen where it's gotten us. We need more. We need protection. I'm tired of seeing old friends forced to move due to overdevelopment and family farms and mature forests being sold and developed left and right. It scares me knowing my fate and others lie in the hands of 7 people here today. We aren't a bunch of crazy tree huggers. We're just hardworking people trying to make ends meet and tired of watching it get harder for us to live out here, but easier for people like you, people like the lobbyists, the lawyers, the politicians, and the developers who seem not to struggle. And I'm here not knowing how much I can live out here. And I only moved out 4 years ago, and I've been down here every year since I moved out there. So don't let all the hard work that y'all put into go into vain just because of 10 people that signed a letter, and I don't see all of them here today. So at least give the amendments a chance, see what happens, and let the people vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Madison Lambert, and is Barbara Frizz. Madison? All right. She'll be followed by Sharon Horton, Juan Garcia, and Amber Umberger. So is Barbara Fries here? Paul Fries? And Pam Colton? Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, I got 3.
Are they seating time?
Yeah, there's people that are giving time, Mayor.
Okay.
So I have a total of 3 minutes for you.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Hello, my name is Madison Lambert. My address is 16939 Corner Bay Court. I've lived close to the rural boundary on the east side for 25 years, and as an adult, I still choose to live there because I feel it's hallowed ground. And I think if you went out there, you'd agree with me. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak today to help emphasize the success of a rural boundary that has been delivered to other counties. I wanted to play this video for you. It talks directly to the rural boundary success in holding up against legal challenges, as well as, most importantly, to the benefit of a rural boundary that it provides to the county.
So that's a little bit about Seminole County, a little bit about the rural boundary. Again, I guarantee that 56.5% would be 75% today if we voted on it. This has become sacrosanct in Seminole County, the protection of the rural boundary. And I think you've seen that we have gone to federal and state court and won every time to protect that. I'll also tell you, though, that it's important not just for the quality of life and keeping that rural distinction. People that will never see it in Altamont Springs or Sanford still love the idea that it's there, that it's protected, that it's safe, just like they do the same thing with Wekiva. It's important. And things like that, as I will talk to you about, I mean, that is the meaning of life. That's the quality of life. But on a practical side, let's be honest, it saves us millions of dollars in infrastructure, saves us millions of dollars in things that we don't have to do when you talk about urban sprawl. Urban sprawl is the biggest problem as far as infrastructure costs that we all have, Orange and Seminole County. So we're very proud that we took that stand. I also wanted to tell you, I saw that you had the Florida Association of Counties legislative priorities. If you want to ask me anything about that, I am president of the Florida Association of Counties. The whole reason I was able to bring it up and get support was because citizens initiative wanted a referendum on placing on the ballot increased ad valorem taxes for a land conservation plan this past November. All the numbers said that it would pass. But we were also looking at next year doing a sales tax. And I don't have to tell you, you put 2 things on the ballot, both of them increasing taxes eventually, or the other one is continuation, you've got a problem. So I suggested an alternative. If conservation land is important, and it is, and it should be a valuable asset to the community, because remember, everybody says, oh, you're taking property off of the tax rolls. No, you're not. you are taking it off, but
All right.
land around it becomes
thank you.
more valuable. So
we'll move to the next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Horton. I live at 923 Guy Road, Orlando 32828. The last little bit that's being squeezed out in Sunflower Trail. We fought for years to try and keep us agriculture. We have our cattle, our animals. As Lee Constantine states, rural area is necessary. We have kids in 4-H that are raising their animals to make themselves, bring themselves into a better life in the future. We need you to give the rights back to the American people, the citizens of the county, to vote for this amendment, this rural expansion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee staff. Thank you. My name is Juan Garcia. I'm a current resident of Lake Whippoorwill, 11864 Kirby Smith Road, and we moved in like around I would say like 4 years ago to the southeast side of the lake, and my whole family is there, and I'm opposed to any further annexation of the city to there, and I'm in favor of the rural settlement. We moved into that side because of the rural settlement, so let's keep it as it is, as a rural settlement area. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Amber Hamburger, to be followed by Sarah Bolin, and is Pat Lindsay. Go ahead, ma'am.
Awesome. My name is Amber Hamburger, and I'm a resident of 620 Kittredge Drive in 32805, Commissioner Scott's district. I'm so sad he's not here today for this vote. I am here as a citizen and as a member of Orlando YIMBY, which is a volunteer nonpartisan organization that fights for affordable, sustainable, and attainable housing. As much as we support abundant housing, we are very pro-housing, and in many ways pro-development. We are very anti-sprawl, and so we are in support of this measure. More broadly than that, I just want to thank the Commission very much for picking up this issue. After the state's preemption of the CRC, many of us were terrified for this ballot amendment and so worried that it would be completely scratched. And so I just want to thank all of you for being willing to take this on, for being willing to allow us to give this comment, and for hopefully your vote in favor of the amendment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
So for Sarah Bolin is Pat Lindsay, all right, Tommy Denton, or Beverly Holloway Rivera. All right, I have so I have just one other dedicating time, so it'll be a total of 2 minutes.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, ma'am.
Just waiting on this video.
We did 15 meetings at the committee. The first 9 of them, we banged out the initial language. We came in February thinking, hey, we got it. Winter Garden, Ed back there, he informed us, and others, Ocoee, Apopka, they all came and talked to us about what we had done wrong. We went back for 6 more meetings. This is for the people watching at home, too. We did 6 more meetings, and we fixed it. And I think we did our dangest to make the rural bounty defined to be only the rural bounty and exclude all the agreements that the county has done over the years with all the cities. So I think that is my intention when Kelly had put this forward last year, almost a year ago, and we started working on this. My main thing was Vision 2050 has a vision that how we shall grow. And we've done this before 20 years ago and we didn't grow that way. This is the second attempt of how shall we grow the Vision 2050. And if we don't get this right, it's over. So I saw this attempt of a rural boundary to be very important to push through, because if we are going to be successful with Vision 20, if the BCC wants to be And this is directly to them. If they want to be successful with Vision 2050, they need tools. We did the fiscal. Thank you. We also need the Vision 2050. The rural boundary. The rural boundary gives them the tool set to say to cities like the city of Orlando, which is going crazy right now, and annexing on the east side, ability to say, no, we are going to retain the land use over that land of the rural boundary. We know cities supposedly have to grow, but that means also up. An example would be the city of Winter Park. I grew up in Winter Park. They do piecemeal annexations. They do annex. An acre here, a quarter acre there. It's very selective.
All right, thank you.
Just like
Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for letting us ask to put this on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, next speaker.
Next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Tom Denton. I've lived at 16625 Burl Road for the last 20 years, and I've recently missed a wonderful orange grove that I could drive by and smell the orange blossoms. It's gone forever. I support strongly for this to be put on the ballot box. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is John Lena. And dedicating time is Kathleen Charles, Amy Lambert, and Susan Collins. Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name's John Lina, L-I-N-A. I live at 3651 Oriskany Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32820. I'm the chairman for Save Orange County. And I want to thank the commissioners for all the hard work that they're doing up here. Hardly anybody ever pats anybody on the back nowadays. But I wish Commissioner Bonilla was here for this. But I'm here today to voice my support for the rural boundary. With that being said, I'd like to give you a brief break from all the speeches, repetitive in some nature, and do a little song and dance for you, Mayor, especially for you. You may remember this video. It's the perspective of the rural area that we're trying to protect. And if you vote in favor of the placing this on the ballot.
Thank you, sir.
Thought you'd like that.
All right, let's keep going. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Jim Hester. Is he in this room? All right, there's Pamela Seibel, Bill Lutz. All right, thank you. And Sid. All right, thank you. You have a... You have a total of 4 minutes, sir.
My name is Jimmy Hester. I'm here for my kids, a fourth-generation farm located east of the Econ in rural East Orange County at 15055 Lake Pickett Road. The first time I spoke at one of these meetings was 10 years ago when I found out my Orange County representative was breaking the promise that was made to the residents east of the Econ. Our community was furious, and for the first time, I learned what canvassing and super voters was. Instead of me getting my kids ready for soccer on Saturday morning, we went canvassing in Ted's backyard. Most of us from our community growing up here know folks and businesses all over Orange County, which was key when our community spread the word of the broken promise. Save East Orlando was created, and this broken promise united folks from every race, religion, and political background. Soon residents from all over Orange County started reaching out with similar struggles, and a database of thousands of Orange County residents was built. Save East Orlando became Save Orange County countywide. This database enabled communication to keep Orange County residents informed, engaged, and resulting in packed out town hall meetings and community meetings. Please do not let someone who does not live here influence today's decision. Today we ask you to be our voice, trust your CRC, protect my agricultural property rights, keep the promise, and vote yes for the world boundary. We will play This Is Our Hometown.
Sale sign on a big old rusty tractor. You can't miss it. It's the first thing that you see. Just up the road, a pale blue water tower. I love Jenny, painted in bright green. Hey, that's my Uncle Bill there by the courthouse. He'll be lowering the flag when the sun goes. This is my town. Yeah, this is my town. Hey, where I was born, where I was raised, where I keep all my yesterdays. Where I ran off 'cause I got mad and it came to blood from my old man. When I came back, settled down, 'cause where they put me to the ground. This is my town. Wonder if that interstate still coming through. Come Sunday morning service at the Church of Christ, there ain't an empty seat to be found. And this is my church. Yeah, this is my town. Where I was born, where I was raised, where I keep all my yesterdays. Where I ran off 'cause I got mad and it came to blood from my old man. Where I came back and settled down, where they put me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Liz Connor, followed by Eugene Staccato, Samuel Rivera. All right, you're dedicating a minute. And then Jack West and Jim Irwin.
My name is Liz Connor, and I live at 2744 South Tanner Road. This is the second time we've been here in a couple months. My family has lived in Orange County, in East Orange County, for over 35 years.
I'm 31 years old. We've been doing this since I was 15. So I please, with everything I have, ask you to support the rural boundary. Please, we've been doing this. I also urge you to not let big developers, people who don't live here, again, I don't mean to belabor the point, but people do not live here, influence and take away what we have. I also am an educator. I work with students every single day. A lot of the students I work with want to become public servants like you. So I urge you, please, please, set a good example for them. Let them know. And when I tell them that you can make a difference in your world, you can fight, you can change the difference and be the difference, that's you guys up here. Please, please put it on the ballot in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. I thought we heard from Staccato a few moments ago.
It took most of my speech away, thank goodness, right? Let me first say that I'm a member of the CRC 2024, and I speak on my own behalf, and representing what I've learned and had privilege based on your votes to be on that commission. I appreciated that. Let me first clear up a few false statements that some of the people are talking about. We have a former commissioner out in the west side who's been saying things about like annexations and how we're going to preempt stuff. We on the commission fully understand the Florida statutes and how that works. And nothing changes with these votes today. Your land is what you have today and it is tomorrow the same. So that clears that up. Public notice was one of the issues. Phil Diamond, who's not here today, our great comptroller, his staff did a wonderful job putting out the notices. We really tried to find radio stations, everything to try to get the notice out. This is democracy in action, and we tried. The municipalities, in fact, our chair, Homer Hartage, your appointee, Mayor, he did a great job. First thing he did was send out letters to all the municipalities saying, hey, we have the CRC, it's in action, be aware, keep aware. So we did our best to try to get the word out with the limited budget that we had. We already know the history of it, of how we worked on for a year. What floored me, one of the things was the words went from 30 words to about 120 words in the rural boundary. And what happened was during that time we got hit with a preemption. Unfortunately, that preemption was by that Senator Iglesias. Unfortunately, Senator Linda Stewart had questioned that on the floor. It was pointed out that it was directed towards us in Orange County, another preemption. And when the final vote was taken, unfortunately, Linda did go with the majority. Only did Senator Geraldine Thompson vote against that action. And we thank her. So please, let's move on. I want a life again.
All right.
I'm done.
Thank you very much. All right, next speaker.
My name is Jim Irwin. I live at 116 Fernwood Street in Orlando. Strike a blow for home rule. Fight back. I love that. Put this historic amendment on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Jack West, followed by Pam Capers, Matthew Grold Shire? I'm sorry, I'm Groghol. Okay, thank you. And you have Lee Parisi. Is Lee Parisi here? Okay. Pam Capers, Matthew, and then followed by Kelly Semran. So, go ahead, ma'am.
Sorry, it's a delay.
Okay, yeah, we'll move with who we have.
My name is Pam Capers. I live at 5401 Rex Drive. That's in the Lake Avalon rural settlement over on the west side of Orange County. I've been thinking all day about what to come here and tell you that you haven't already heard 5 million times. So, what they said. Please vote for this. I do want to take a moment, though, to say thank you. Thank you for taking this up when the Citizens Review Commission couldn't. And thank you for having the patience to let all of these people express their opinions. It is a valuable part of our democratic process, and I thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Last call for Lee Patrizzi to donate a minute. Okay. I'm sorry. There you go. All right. Thank you so much. You'll have 2 minutes.
Hello, Commissioners, Mayor. Once again, today, my name is Matthew Grholski. My address is 1701 Lee Road, Winter Park, 32789. I'm here today representing both the Sunrise Movement Orlando, but also the Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District. If you don't know, we are an elected body, actually, by all voters of Orange County. And we represent all of Orange County when it comes to advising the county and state on soil and water issues. I'm here today because a few months ago, I was at the Florida Supreme Court, and we had a hearing for a ballot initiative that was put on to the ballot from voters. The Florida Supreme Court almost ruled to not have it on the ballot. And today I am sitting here again talking about another ballot initiative, another proposal through the CRC, though, to let voters decide. Ultimately, this is a matter of democracy. And that is something that is insane, that we're debating democracy and letting people decide their own decisions when they use. Now, another problem that I really was thinking of the whole time when I heard that a letter from certain mayors in the county came through was the fact that the letter is about the unaffordability of the boundary. If we pass the boundary, all of our properties will become unaffordable. Well, the same mayors saying that are the mayors that refuse to build affordable housing in their own backyards. How can you be, yes, in my backyard, except when it is in your own backyard? So I'm here today to just tell you, please pass the boundary, let the voters decide, and hell, every single voter, every single resident of Orange County sees this vote. They know that if you vote against putting this on the ballot, that you're not letting them decide. And hell, maybe they'll vote you out next county commission election.
All right. Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Kelly Semran. I have some dedication cards. Susan Morris. Thank you. James McKnight. Bev Russell. Jeannie McKnight. And Jennifer Lane. All right, you'll have a total of 6 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Kelly Summert. I reside at 3111 Amalfi Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32820. I am the Vice Chair of Save Orange County. I'm also the citizen initiator of the rural boundary from July 2023. We got to this point of a rural boundary coming from the people with a story that goes something like this. 1990s, the people of East Orange County were asked to compromise on development coming across the river. We had some diseased orange groves. The development that was going to go in there was 1 home per 1 acre, and that was what we were going to see coming in east of the Econ. When my husband and I bought into that community, we didn't know that the community had already compromised with that. We were surprised when we saw some of the cow pastures going up for the Lake Pickett text amendments that were asking for, on average at the time, 12 homes per acre. We worked and we worked and we worked. You guys, we went to BCC meetings, DRC meetings, RAC meetings. Every C meeting that the community could go to, we went to. And we had to educate ourselves from the grassroots level up. We dedicated so many hours to this that we actually have a generation now where those of us who didn't have children but had children at the time, those kids are now taking care of the new kids that have been born to those that didn't have children at the time. So We got the GROW, this development that came in. We got it down to 6 homes on average per acre, and that was like supposed to be a win for the community, 2,000 homes in the Econ River Basin. It wasn't good enough for the community, so I sued the county with a group of other people. We won in court. The county was found as violating its comprehensive land use plan that Governor Scott made a political decision to overturn. But we had the legal outcome. The legal outcome was this was urban sprawl. So we kept on. We kept coming here, and you see there are red shirts. We're here all the time. We made friends on the west side, people coming here saying the same things, same issues. And so I put in for a rural boundary to look something like Alachua or Seminole County. And the CRC, they did a fine job of a lot of research, a lot of hours, a lot of meetings. And we got a senator who doesn't live here, who was lobbied by Tavistock and Suburban Land Reserve, Deseret Ranch, to add one sentence to a bipartisan bill that impeded our ability to amend our county constitution to fix our needs. They left the window open for the Board of County Commissioners to pick it up. And the people we came in here, I don't know if you remember, Mayor, he said, just be patient, let the CRC finish the process. But we were having like a panic attack because we were like, this is a decade of work that we have done to get this here. But we were patient. And we went to the CRC meeting and we rode that process out. And the CRC, those members who you appointed to represent all of us, made a recommendation to put the rural boundary on the ballot. But that wasn't just all that they recommended. They had reference in there pertaining to annexation and that the laws of the land transfer. The rural boundary transfers if annexed. This rural boundary, we have to have both. The developers made this an even heavier lift for the community because we can't just come at you and ask for a rural boundary. We have to ask for the enforcement tool with the annexation as well. So the people not only have to overcome mega development, deep pockets of developers, but now we're expected to get 2 charter amendments on to honor the work of a decade of a community that came together despite political ideology, despite income level, gender, race, religion. It doesn't matter. Look at this room. We have been here. We have been united for more than a decade, and we remain here. And we are asking for the right to vote. The mayors that are around Orange County that submitted a petition and a signature. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't remember any affordable homes being built in Sustany. Not one. I don't remember one single affordable home being built in the GROW. I don't remember any of the proposals coming forward to build homes in the rural service area as making the mark of attainable or affordable. This does not impact the housing market in a negative way. To the contrary, it focuses on the housing supply that we need in the urban core. If we are committed to Vision 2050, which so many of us in this room are, from Save Orange County to Sunrise Movement to YIMBY, Sierra Club, all League of Women Voters, all of us participated in Vision 2050. And we believe in it, and we're still working at it to make it good. But it's meaningless if we can't get a boundary to enforce it. Because the fact of the matter is that every time that a privately led text amendment is initiated, it is harder and harder for the people to win. We will never get a mass transit system that works if we do not stop the sprawl. We will never get away from Carlando. We've got a tourism industry that's booming. How amazing would it be to get them on a mass transit system that works and send their economic footprint throughout this entire county? But we will never get there with a failing mass transit system. We will never get there with the city of Orlando annexing our rural land that we are using to conserve our money, to get the biggest return on investment for all of our tax dollars. It makes no sense to build roads to nowhere. We got a $22 billion deficit in our infrastructure needs. Where we need to focus is in our urban core. We need to guarantee the quality of life remains as best we can make it in Orlando, Orange County, while respecting our rural communities and our agricultural sector. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Janet Brewer, and dedicating time is David Siegel. No? Samuel Rivera. Right, one. Deborah Bradley, and David Siegel. Janet Brewer. Right, following Janet Brewer is Mike Bustillos, Raymond Bonilla, Ramon Bonilla, Kenya Richardman.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Mayor, commissioners, Commissioner Bonilla, my commissioner. My name is Janet Brewer. My address is 4707 Lazy H Lane, Christmas, Florida, 32709. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the mayor and the commissioners for helping us move forward the way we feel and know is the right way for us. I have a video I'd like for everyone to watch, and I'm going to ask you to roll the CRC hard work video.
Achieve. What I find most incredible is the consequential nature of all 8 amendments that will appear on the charter. I had a great pleasure of speaking with Phil Diamond the other day, and I said, Phil, can you remember a charter review commission that passed 8 charter amendments?
Never has been one.
Never has been one. So it's not just the number, but when I read through them again, I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. Now, that's right, and we did that too, and we did that too. So I just want to thank everyone up here, and Mr. Chair, you have my utmost respect, and I look forward to seeing you again in 4 years.
Thank you. Member Grimmer.
It's been some 40 years or so that I got elected to this board, back when we had the first Charter Study Commission. And I can tell you, this is the hardest working board that I've served on. And hopefully they double our salary next year. And I want to thank the chairman and also thank the mayor for putting me on the board, and I'll shoot him tomorrow about it. but you won't see me in the next one, that's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Humbled by this opportunity. It's just been a wonderful thing. I think back, I moved to Orange County at 10 years old back in 1992. So yes, if you do the math, that means I'll be 42 this year. And in those 32 years or so, of that goal, of that ideal of listening to citizens and trying to bring their ideas forward and trying to make sure that those ideas have a voice. And so in whatever way I have had that opportunity to voice that here with all of you, it's just been a humbling experience, and I'm truly thankful for it. I have to thank, of course, Commissioner Gomez Cordero for this incredible honor. I am very thankful for the folks out in East Orange County, where I live as well, who've always come forward and made their opinions heard. It's just been a truly wonderful experience. This experience has been some of the most education I've got, really. There's nothing quite like serving in a board like this to teach you about how our government actually works and the intricate workings of it. And I'm very thankful to all of you and your guidance and leadership and mentorship through this process. So thank you all so much for this opportunity. And a big shout out again to Mr. Vose. I think I've learned a lot from you in this process as well. So thank you.
I am for the rural boundary. I am for preserving the area I've lived in for almost 50 years on Lazy H Lane. And I hope you all will help us. Thank you. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Ramon Pereira Bonilla. I live at 1647 East Colonial Drive. I'm here representing the Democratic Environmental Caucus of Orange County and speaking in favor of the rural boundary. I won't spend my time today talking on the environmental or economic impacts of this boundary because so many people have already done such an amazing job of doing that, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so. Today I want to speak to each of you directly on your legacies. Regardless of whether or not you let us have the option to establish this rural boundary today, the issues surrounding it will not go away, and so your votes will never be forgotten. Your votes certainly won't be forgotten by the countless rural Orange County residents who have shown up here day after day after day and will only come back in greater numbers and even more organized when their lands continue to flood and their way of life continue to be stripped from them. Your votes certainly won't be forgotten by young people like myself who have lived in other great cities but have chosen to come back to this amazing place. When our urban core decays as a result of their irresponsible sprawl, when our $22 billion infrastructure deficit balloons beyond control, we will not forget how each and every one of you voted here today. Commissioners, please, I beg of you, allow your legacies to be remembered as one of democratic devotion to the will of the people, and in the face of immense corporate pressure, one of bold, compassionate leadership.
All right,
thank you for your service. Thank you for listening.
All right, next.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Kenya Richmond, and I reside at 6856 Waterville Lane, Orlando, Florida, zip code 32822. I am a member of Sunrise Movement, and we advocate for sustainable, smart development. I'm here to ask you to support the rural boundary as well as the annexation charter amendment. My generation is the next workforce of Orange County, and it is already hard for us to find livable wage jobs and apartments we can afford in Orange County. Building suburban homes in the rural community does not solve our housing crisis. It only makes it worse. We need to concentrate our growth and development in the urban core. We will never be able to get away from a car-dependent culture by building roads to nowhere in order to accommodate developers' profit gains. Please give my generation and all others after me the opportunity to vote on the rural boundary. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Mike Bustillos, 101 Lake Ave. Thank you for having me. I'm here from Orlando YIMBY. That is, yes, in my backyard. We're advocates for affordable, abundant housing. People often hear that as develop everywhere, but we are passionate about sustainable housing. The suburbs are not sustainable. They don't raise enough tax revenue to pay for their own infrastructure maintenance. They're costly to reach with transit. They require more cars, more highways, more lanes, more pollution, etc. They aren't accessible to low-income families or people that can't drive, and they are devastating to the local ecology. The state ecology is an interconnected system, and we are an integral part of that. We have to be serious about stopping suburban sprawl and preserving Florida's wildlife. The future of human flourishing is not in the suburbs, it's in sustainable, walkable neighborhoods. So despite being a housing advocate, I want to encourage the committee to approve this rural boundary referendum to be on the ballot in November. I want to make it costly and arduous to destroy our environment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, please.
Next speaker is Lori Forrester, followed by Kurt Ardeman, Suzanne Arnold, and then Tom Norrit. Okay. For Mr. Norrit is John Collins here. All right, so you'll be dedicating your minute to him.
All right.
Kurt Ardeman.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Commissioners. Kurt Ardeman with the Fishback Dominic Law Firm, 1947 Lee Road, Winter Park, Florida, 32789. You may have gotten a letter from, I think, 10 of the 11 cities, either signed by the mayors or their council with respect to this. I happen to represent Winter Garden and Ocoee here today. And with respect to the process, there are concerns with this process. There is a proper mechanism that can be used, and that's the Comprehensive Planning Act and the county's process. But the concerns with this process are as follows. Under the Community Planning Act, and it's a statutory provision, 163.3167 sub 8, use of the initiative or referendum process for any local comprehensive plan or map amendment is prohibited. Establishing a rural area which locks in a specific intensity and density by a referendum or initiative process is in fact a comprehensive plan amendment. The loss of Could I have just a couple more minutes, Mayor, since I've got two cities?
Did he have any time ceded to him?
Two separate entities, Winter Garden and Ocoee.
No, we got the letter.
This is different than the letter, Mayor.
Okay, so
give me 30 seconds and I'll be finished.
All right.
Thank you
Are
so
they
much.
here to dedicate their time? Because we're making sure everybody else is dedicating their time.
Ed Williams is here. Okay, great.
Okay, Ed, you filled out a card. Who's giving time? Oh, okay, okay, all right. So, if he doesn't have additional time, we're going to enforce the rule. We do have that's something should have been worked out. We do have the letter from the cities that you referenced. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Bottom line is we request a continuance and to meet with the county, to meet with the various cities to find the proper process to pursue. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Suzanne Arnold. I live at 13306 South Lake Mary Jane Road, Orlando, Florida, 32832. I am the Communications Chairperson for the Lake Mary Jane Alliance, and I thank you for receiving all of our emails from our residents this weekend. The Lake Mary Jane Alliance formed in 2005 when we were able to preserve 465 acres with the Green Place program. We kept going from there and started learning more about the county, the procedures, things like that. We attended all the How Shall We Grow meetings in 2006, 2007, which was all supposed to be based on smart growth, growing up, not growing out, preserving. The whole thing turned into the Innovation Way program and the plan development, but it's changed drastically from the original intentions, and we've had to attend hundreds and hundreds of meetings since then. So we fully agree that at a minimum there should be a supermajority required for any change in zoning or land use for rural lands. The lands that are east of the lands to the east are part of the Florida Wildlife Corridor, which we think is very significant. We ask you to save these critical lands, and we're excited to see you put this on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Tom Norrit and John Collins and Teddy Mill.
Thank you.
Okay, you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. My name is Tom Narrett, N-A-R-U-T, 14620 Joe Sayre Drive, Orlando, Florida. Kind of interesting today, right? We hear the terms that we've all heard thrown around, NIMBY, YIMBY, and wow, we are all here together, right? Singing the song, waving the flag, waving the signs. You got to like it. In any case, clearly an issue that everybody wants to see on the ballot. I don't think there's a question about that. Drawn back to whatever I had 2 minutes ago, what exactly was that when that gentleman stepped up here? I say that because look at Seminole County, Alachua, Pinellas, Sarasota. Apparently they're breaking the laws that this gentleman seems to think that are in place. So I think there's some good work at those other 4 counties that you might want to put your law firm on. There's probably a lot of good business there. That's ludicrous. In any case, as mayor, you have received letters from other mayors, right? 10 voices coming from outside Orange County. You've heard people come up and say that time and time again. These are voices outside of Orange County. They're attempting to direct what Orange County should do with our own governance. Personally, I find that laughable and insulting. I hope you do the same. This agreement already protects the rights of those cities, as well as all landowners within the county. It does not preclude any landowner or any city from annexing non-JPA planned initiatives. Let's call those knee-jerk annexations, right? A JPA is planned. If it's not planned and we just whip it up because we are in the mood, or a landowner is in the mood because of regulations that are less lax, that's a knee-jerk annexation. The rural boundary simply requires, we all know knee-jerk annexations are unplanned and cause the most disruption to Orange County, while designed growth plans against our well-designed growth plans and strategies. The rural boundary simply requires some basic additional effort that helps our Orange County government better work with annexing cities to encourage zoning that works for both entities within those knee-jerk annexations. So simple, much like if it were a JPA from the beginning that had already been planned around. So I ask that you all allow the cities to run their operations, and we in Orange County run ours. Ours involves putting the rural boundary on the ballot for the people to vote. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is James Franklin, followed by Margie Holt, followed by Jamison Paul.
How many speakers do we have?
There's 3 speakers and a few dedications. So, William Charles, are you here? All right, James. No, James Franklin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, and citizens.
Good afternoon.
I appreciate the opportunity to present the opportunity for you to hear us and deliberate on this item of getting the rural boundaries onto the actual ballot in November. I want to take 1 minute to show a short video where Commissioner Wilson does an outstanding job.
That allows a higher level of scrutiny by this board should somebody want to take it out of that rural designation. All it does is it gives those residents out there the additional layer of procedural protection for their own property rights in that designation. If we continue to sprawl out, we will have nothing left. That we have got to protect not just the rural boundary, but our grazing lands, our ag lands, our natural resources. So those things right now are a hot topic, but not just on the outside, on the inside of that urban boundary, because people understand that as we send money and resources out, they're paying for that. So it's fascinating for me to see YIMBY, the Yes in My Backyard people, wholly supporting this. But the reason why is that they understand that we will not be sustainable going into the future without it. I will tell you I'm very supportive of the municipal ballot, letting the voters.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the next speaker.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Jamison Paul. I have properties in District 5 and District 3. As a fourth-generation Floridian, I kind of understand the premise of the rural boundary. However, I'm torn between, I got one side of my family are builders and developers, and the other side is in agriculture. Myself, I am one of the 2 ranchers in Orange County that raise buffalo for a living. That's one of the things I do. I'm a little concerned on the amendment as it does introduce a lot of restrictions and infringe on rights of the citizens of Orange County. As a wise man told me, the devil is always in the details, and no good deed ever goes unpunished. So with that, I encourage everybody to read the amendment and make sure we understand it. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Hi there. Yes, somebody donated their time for me. I believe I have 2 minutes.
Is that right, Joe?
I'm Marjorie Holt.
Yeah, well, Lee Patrizzi dedicated her time to somebody else, and Bobby Beagles already spoke.
Oh, so
All right.
down to one.
Down to one.
Okay, well, very good. I am Marge Holt with the Sierra Club, P.O. Box 941692, Maitland, Florida. I live here in District 5 at 8502 Elveron Avenue, Orlando, Florida. And on behalf of the Sierra Club Central Florida Group, I respectfully request the Board of County Commissioners vote today to adopt the Rural Boundary Charter Amendment. Your approval of this local ballot initiative will provide voters the opportunity on November the 4th to protect the county's valuable natural resources in rural agricultural lands. I'm also a representative for the Sierra Club Central Florida Group to the Florida Everglades. We are a very pivotal pivotal area when it comes in terms of natural water flow. We send water to the north out past Jacksonville and water to the south. Our agricultural lands provide for flooding and water quality and air quality. So I look to your leadership to move this forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments.
No more speaker cards, Mayor.
All right, given that, I'll double check. Anybody else from the public who wish to be heard, who is eligible to speak at this time? Okay, unfortunately, you spoke already, so you're not eligible to speak. So thank you all for all of those who came to speak. I'm going to close the public hearing at this time. And we're going to go to, before we ask for a motion on this, my screen went dark for a moment, and when I kicked it back on, it wiped them out. But I do know Commissioner Moore was first to indicate a desire to speak, so I'm going to call on you. Commissioner Moore.
Yes, thank you. I had a question for Alberto Vargas. I asked this last time, but I just want to hear the answer again, and for the benefit of some of the folks listening to us. We've been working very hard on Vision 2050, and I know we did a lot of work in some of the rural areas. Can you just speak to how different the rural boundaries, policies, being in the charter, is different from what we've been trying to do in the comprehensive plan through Vision 2050?
So, Commissioner, the rural sector, which is one of the 6 sectors within Vision 2050, pretty much, and consistent with the work session on the 18th of June, identifies the boundary of the rural area pretty consistently. There may be some acreage that are not part of the JPAs or interlocal agreements that are in place that are not part of the rural sector itself. The rural sector, has its own structure to it. We have heard the voice of the residents of the rural area. We have heard your direction about keeping minimum impact in terms of growth within the rural sector itself. Only 2% of the projected 500,000 new residents in Orange County for the next 25, 26 years is in the structure of the rural sector itself. However, the difference is the fundamental nature of what the rural boundary, a rural area is doing, which is creating a process for any change that may be directed towards comprehensive plan amendments, which will happen after the vote, which raises any or changes any particular densities or intensities within the rural area, as well as a majority plus one of the vote of the Board of County Commissioners in order to change the boundary or any particular property within the boundary, meaning extending the urban service area within that general area. So those two general procedures are different than what is in Vision 2050 right now.
Okay, so one more time, what are the two? So it's the majority plus one, and then you said there were a couple of...
You can maybe put the language back up.
Sure.
There you go.
So these two subsections within the ordinance itself, which basically says that in subsection B1, it says that the ordinance any ordinance that amends the comprehensive plan to increase the allowable densities or intensities within the rural area or a portion thereof may only be approved by an affirmative vote of no less than the majority plus one. And then B2, which says that any ordinance to remove lands from the rural area
may only be done by that same vote.
But the boundaries are generally similar, and we were trying to, in essence, with Vision 2050, we were trying to protect the rural boundaries anyway. And so that's it. Just these two things is what you see is different.
Yes, ma'am. The majority of the place typologies or place types within the rural sector are pretty much consistent as the framework presents it. Rural settlements stay rural settlements. Agricultural densities and intensities stay pretty much the same as currently in place.
Okay. Mayor, I had one more question. It was for legal.
All right.
So, Jeff, having heard what he just said there, do you feel confident that we won't run afoul of any of state law with these two changes?
No, I don't believe we're run afoul of any state law. I think the CRC did a thorough job of vetting this particular amendment. And as you know, the mayor indicated that the county attorney's office needed to vet it separately. We've done that. We think it parallels state law and is consistent with the case law that has been decided by the courts.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved, Bonilla.
Second,
All
Wilson.
right. Moved by Commissioner Bonilla, second by Commissioner Wilson. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes and it is unanimous. All right, thank you all. We still got work to do here. So if you must leave to the commissioners, let's take a 15-minute break and then we'll come back. We have a lot of work still left to do. So please leave quietly.